gun by some local gunsmith. Such firearms are to be found in farmhouses, hanging against the wall over the chimney-piece. The young man caressed his weapon with affection. 20 times or more he pulled the trigger, thrust his little finger into the barrel, and examined the butt attentively. By degrees he grew full of youth enthusiasm, combined with childish frolicsomeness, and ended by levelling his weapon and aiming at space, like a recruit going through his drill. It was now very nearly 8 o'clock, and he had been holding his gun levelled for over a minute, when all at once a low, panting call, light as a breath, came from the direction of the Jas Meffrin. "Are you there, Silver?" the voice asked. Silver dropped his gun and bounded onto the tombstone. "Yes, yes," he replied, also in a hushed voice. "Wait, I'll help you." Before he could stretch out his arms, however, a girl's head appeared above the wall. With singular agility, the damsel had availed herself of the trunk of a mulberry tree and climbed aloft like a kitten. The ease and certainty with which she moved showed that she was familiar with this strange spot. In another moment she was seated on the coping of the wall. Then Silver, taking her in his arms, carried her, though not without a struggle, to the seat. "Let go," she laughingly cried. "Let go. I can get down alone very well." And when she was seated on the stone slab, she added, "Have you been waiting for me long? I've been running and am quite out of breath." Silver made no reply. He seemed in no laughing humour, but gazed sorrowfully into the girl's face. "I wanted to see you, Miette," he said, as he seated himself beside her. "I should have waited all night for you. I am going away at daybreak tomorrow morning." Miette had just caught sight of the gun lying on the grass, and with a thoughtful air she murmured, "Oh, so it's decided then. There's your gun." "Yes," replied Silver after a brief pause, his voice still faltering. "It's my gun. I thought it best to remove it from the house tonight. Tomorrow morning Aunt Dede might have seen me take it, and have felt uneasy about it. I'm going to hide it, and shall fetch it just before starting." Then, as Miette could not remove her eyes from the weapon which he had so foolishly left on the grass, he jumped up and again hid it among the wood stacks. "We learned this morning," he said, as he resumed his seat, "that the insurgents of La Palud and Saint-Martin-de-Vaux were on the march, and spent last night at Alboise. We have decided to join them. Some of the workmen of Plassans have already left the town this afternoon, and those who still remain will join their brothers tomorrow." He spoke the word brothers with youthful emphasis. "A contest is becoming inevitable," he added, "but at any rate we have right on our side, and we shall triumph." Miette listened to Silver, her eyes meantime gazing in front of her, without observing anything. "'Tis well," she said, when he had finished speaking. And after a fresh pause she continued, "You warned me, yet I still hoped. However, it is decided." Neither of them knew what else to say. The green path in the deserted corner of the woodyard relapsed into melancholy stillness. Only the moon chased the shadows of the piles of timber over the grass. The two young people on the tombstone remained silent and motionless in the pale light. Silver had passed his arm round Miette's waist, and she was leaning against his shoulder. They exchanged no kisses, naught but an embrace, in which love showed the innocent tenderness of fraternal affection. Miette was enveloped in a long brown hooded cloak reaching to her feet, and leaving only her head and hands visible. The women of the lower classes in Provence, the peasantry and workpeople, still wear these ample cloaks, which are called pelisses. It is a fashion which must have lasted for ages. Miette had thrown back her hood on arriving. Living in the open air and born of a hot-blooded race, she never wore a cap. Her bare head showed in bold relief against the wall, which the moonlight whitened. She was still a child, no doubt, but a child ripening into womanhood. She had reached that adorable, uncertain hour when the frolicsome girl changes to a young woman. At that stage of life, a bud-like delicacy, a hesitancy of contour that is exquisitely charming, distinguishes young girls. The outlines of womanhood appear amidst girlhood's innocent slimness, and woman shoots forth at first all embarrassment, still retaining much of the child, and ever and unconsciously betraying her sex. This period is very unpropitious for some girls, who suddenly shoot up, become ugly, sallow and frail, like plants before their due season. For those, however, who, like Miette, are healthy and live in the open air, it is a time of delightful gracefulness, which once past can never be recalled. Miette was 13 years of age, and although strong and sturdy, did not look any older, so bright and childish was the smile which lit up her countenance. However, she was nearly as tall as Silver, plump and full of life. Like her lover, she had no common beauty. She would not have been considered ugly, but she might have appeared peculiar to many young exquisites. Her rich black hair rose roughly erect above her forehead,